Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Argument with toddie1skip. I appreciate you being here. Guys, I'm excited about this episode, especially because not only are we talking about something that I know pretty much a lot about, which is the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case and the peripherals that fly around there, and a little bit about being a content creator. I'm joined this week with Knight Convos, KNIGHTCONVOS. Now, Knight Convos, KNIGHTCONVOS, is a channel that totally covers the Gypsy Rose topics and grabs great clips and makes research and does phone calls, and they've brought a lot to their channel. They've only just been a channel for about a year, and they're just shy of 5,000 subscribers. I'd really love to give them that and help them gain that. For those that aren't subscribed, can you go over there, just check out their channel and see if they're worthy of your subscription? That'd be great. So I'm not going to hold us up. This is, we didn't really argue all that much, I have to say. We pretty much agreed on things, but there were some things that we felt passionate about as well. So please join us on The Argument. I appreciate you guys. And so I got Knight Convos with me, and we're going to be talking or arguing. The argument is how far the content creators go. How far is too far, and how much is it to stand behind somebody? So there's the example of Gypsy Rose Blanchard comes to mind, and then how far do we go too far? I would say right now with the Lauren Matthias, I don't know if you know anything about the Lauren Matthias thing with the true crime. Did you hear about that, guys?
We haven't looked into that case, no.
Okay, so this is a content creator, huge content creator, Hidden True Crime with Dr. John. Have you heard of them? They're pretty big.
Wait,
She used to be a
Dr.
Mormon.
John,
Yeah, Dr. John Matthias and his wife Lauren, they covered the Daybell case and stuff. She has just been basically outed as almost like the new Ellen, but on social media. So supposedly very well liked, only to find out not so well liked when you
Oh, wow.
Oh,
and then what she did was supposedly like created more or less this stalking situation where she was more the stalker, but because her voice was louder and she had more people, she created it so that she was being stalked, and she tried to use the sympathy of her platform, right, of 300,000 subscribers
No.
to kind of change the
Oh,
narrative.
wow.
And when people dug into this narrative, they saw that she was somebody that was not very well liked and almost like a mean girl. Well, pretty much a mean girl. And so she kind of messed with her own facade there, you know, as soon
Yeah,
as she
sounds
was
Yeah.
like,
like it.
exactly. So, but as far as like how far content, first of all, you know what I found really weird with the Lauren Matthias? She has over 300,000 subscribers, but they did this live stream, Comic-Con live stream, and they had 77 people. Now I get more than 77 people usually.
Yeah,
Yes,
you do.
yes.
So I mean, she has
That's
300,000
odd.
subscribers, and so there is this rumor now going on that she probably bought some, and apparently if you do buy subscribers, maybe YouTube does keep track of that, and you don't get your 100,000 person or
Oh, your
subscriber
plaque.
plaque. Yeah, because people
Yeah.
are saying, "Where's her
No.
plaque? Where's her plaque?" So
Ah,
No.
that's wild. I
Yeah,
don't
it
get
yeah.
is.
why people do that. Just be real. Like
Well, yeah, but some people can't be real,
that.
and that's the
That's
Yeah,
thing,
true.
you
yeah.
know.
That is true. So I
So
have to agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
on the other platform where I'm covering like the Whitakers, right? So there was a content creator that I totally believe has bought subscribers, and they have shared a lot of false information, and you could see, and you could even buy views apparently. I mean, listen, anything could be bought, but once you start doing that, you know, as soon as you start losing or selling a little bit of your integrity, the rest of it's for sale. It's not
Right.
like not like you could
Yeah.
say, let me give you this little parcel or this little morsel of something. Let me give you this little morsel of something. You end up with the whole pie at the end of it, because once you do something, in my opinion, to break like a wall that you've made or a boundary that you've made, or what is it? I want to say like a regard, more or less, that you have. Once you break that, it's just easy. It's almost like an addict. Oh, I relapsed. What the fuck? You know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah.
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 So the best thing I think is just to keep that, keep that raised for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what do you think is, as far as like what do you think as far as what our subscribers should expect from their content creators? What do you think that they should be expecting from you guys, Knight Convos? What can they expect from you?
Well, I mean, we always try to stick to the facts, and like mainly, I mean, if you look at our channel, you can tell we've mainly been really intrigued and digging into the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case for a while.
And she's got some peripherals there. She's got some minions there, in my opinion. But yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Now, yeah, we do agree with that too. Yeah, she has some loyal followers that'll drink the Kool-Aid, as I like to say.
right.
But yeah, we try. But like, even though we will say in our videos sometimes, now this is our opinion about this situation, but first, we always give like the facts about what is going on, the truth about what's going on, and then we'll just say, but this is our opinion about
Right.
this certain
Right.
fact, or whatever it is, because we want to know other people's opinions as well about what's going on. So yeah, we always try to stick to the facts and truth, and if we find out that something is incorrect that we've said or put in a video, we'll immediately come back and correct that and be like, hey guys, sorry, we got this particular thing wrong, like with our
Yeah.
medical records or something like that. It, but we looked at this wrong. It's actually says this, or
What
something.
What do you think of like the medical records? There's more. I
Yeah.
mean, we're threatened that there's more medical records.
Mhm.
But now that, I mean, like, a lot has come out in the past year, since I've been doing this. I've been doing Gypsy Rose for probably over a year now, right? So
Yeah.
a lot has come out, and mostly the fault. And I think the reason that we looked again and again and again was because of the many times she told the same story 4 or 5 different ways, right? I mean,
Yeah, you're exactly right.
she ruined her own credibility. I've always said if she did her
Mm.
documentary and wrote her book and just went away, she would have been, considered a survivor of Munchausen by proxy, right? Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah. No, we actually agree with that, because
Yeah.
hubby and I were talking actually the other day, and we were saying with Gypsy, it's seriously like she wants everyone, like whether you are, considered like quote anti-Gypsy or pro Gypsy. It doesn't matter. Gypsy Rose wants everyone to seriously like believe and defend what she's saying right now in this moment, and then completely forget about it because she is going to say something completely contradictive the next day.
Exactly, right? I mean, that's exactly
Or
what she does
or
do.
sometimes the same day.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Sometimes the next breath when it comes to her.
Just
So,
seriously, yeah.
let me ask you this. Do you think there's a baby? It's ridiculous that I have to ask that. I do. I ask everybody, is there a baby? Do you think there's a baby? What do you think? Is,
Yeah, I think
and
so.
if there's a baby, is it her baby? Because I know
Yeah.
there's a baby. I think that there's 2 babies that we keep seeing pictures of. One is a
Yeah.
skinnier, smaller baby, and one is a larger baby. But do you think that there is a Gypsy Rose Blanchard Aurora baby?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay. I always thought so. Okay, and I was like, all right, people are kind of reaching a little bit too far here when they're saying, like when she the whole time she was pregnant, I was questioning it. Absolutely, I was
Oh
questioning it.
yeah, I was
But
then.
but then and then when she gave birth, I was like, yeah, okay, we have to accept it. She had a baby, but darn, since she's given birth to now, like I
Mhm.
personally, I differentiate a little bit from hubby because I do believe she's had a baby, but then sometimes like you were saying, you see the baby and it's a different size, or her hair is
Well, it's
darker
all
or
about the
lighter.
angle. Don't you understand? It's all about the
Oh,
angle.
oh, I know. Aurora doesn't take her pictures right. She should hold the camera above her head before
Yeah.
Right.
she videos herself. It's ridiculous. I'm just kidding. We don't mean anything against the baby. We're just
Of
playing.
course, of course, of course.
We just we like to have fun sometimes with that. But so I to answer your question, I honestly just do not know at this point. I
Yeah.
really do not know.
It wouldn't surprise you either which way.
It really would not. It really would not.
Isn't
But
that something?
I feel like it's kind of like, come on, guys, like, you know, it's a baby. Like we've seen her pictures at the hospital, but then I think, well, look how many movies where there's hospital scenes,
Well,
and
didn't
they make
somebody
it look like somebody's had a baby.
somebody put up something like that? Somebody put up a scene like that, wasn't it? And it wasn't a hospital scene. It was actually in a. It wasn't in like It wasn't in the maternity ward or that
There's
where
like
that
an
picture.
empty room somewhere.
Yeah, there
Yeah, I
was
remember
something
Yeah.
that.
really weird about that. Something really weird about that. What do you think about? Let me ask you this. What do you think about a season 3 of the show? I know that they say there's not gonna be, but don't you I think that there was supposed to be a season 3 of the show, and, I believe part of it, not part of it, but, at least a small portion of it was definitely gonna be at Buc-ee's, and I think, also in the streets of, New Orleans, where they actually remember when the, billboard video came out, and people all of a sudden saw the camera crew behind Gypsy in that, remember where there was a camera crew in Louisiana, in New
Yeah.
Orleans? Okay. And
Yeah.
then you have the Buc-ee's thing, and the Buc-ee's was empty, and Buc-ee's isn't empty. Like,
Yeah, that's what we've heard, but we
yeah, no, no, no,
also
it's not empty. It's never empty. A
and
Buc-ee's is
that's
never
what
empty.
we've always heard, and we've had a couple of people reach out to us that are subscribers. They've been subscribers for a little while, but they've reached out to us that actually live near her and have actually seen her and stuff. But
Have they seen
they
her with the baby?
one person has told us that yes, they have actually seen her with the baby in
At
the
Dollar
stroller.
General? At
N-
Dollar General?
No, it was actually
Okay,
somewhere else.
okay.
Where was it?
Where was it?
I'm trying to actually remember. But the baby was in the stroller. Now I'm sitting here wondering, okay, if we go with the theory that the baby is is real, or like, well, did you see the baby moving? Because if
Exactly,
not,
but
then
these
maybe the baby's
babies
fake.
move. They have these babies that move. It's really I don't
It's creepy a little
it's
bit.
weird. So,
Mm.
I have gone and I've been, like, really vocal about the concern that I have with that child, if there is a child, because that, Gypsy offered up her imaginative child, but in order to offer up her imaginative child, she had to have pictured it and had to have thought, "Gee, that is exciting." You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
she comes up and then knows well enough it's not gonna be a good look, so let me place it on Nick.
yeah,
So now she has a child, supposedly.
right.
What's your feeling about that? And even if she didn't have a child, other people that come into her life have children. So I
Yes.
mean, what's your feeling about that?
And we do, and we've also heard, that her BFF, like we call her anyway, her BFF Bree, uh, uh, she apparently has nieces or nephew, or maybe not nieces and nephews or something, and a lot of children in her house or something, or maybe a family member's house, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a family member's house.
Yeah. So yeah, Gypsy could definitely get her hands on a baby to borrow, but she
Borrowing a baby.
Yeah.
but she could. Um, wait, sorry, I apologize. Say your question again. Ask your question again.
I was
Because
asking, yeah, I was asking like about the concern that comes from Gypsy mentioning about offering up, a child,
oh
and
yeah,
the
to
fact that
Nick.
she's going to come into people's lives that have children, even if, excuse me, she doesn't have her own. But let's go with the premise she has her own kid.
Okay. Okay,
That
so
is
we're going
that
with your
screams
theory,
like
hubby.
what's that?
We're going with your theory, hubby.
Yeah,
The baby's real.
it's a real baby.
I mean, isn't that real concern that you pictured in your head,
It really is.
you
It,
know, and
yes.
and another one of my questions is, where has that gone? Like, where has that nasty behavior gone? Because it hasn't quelled on its own. Like,
It doesn't. She's still a narcissist, isn't she? So,
well, I'm worried about more of the nastiness as far as children
right.
are concerned, and weaker individuals. Yeah, I see Bree as a weaker individual.
Yeah.
What could Bree do? Could Bree possibly unalive somebody for Gypsy Rose? And I know people are saying, "Whoa, you're going too far, Toddie." Am I? Because she already did it. I mean, like, am I?
Yeah.
I'd like to
Um,
think that Bree has more sense in her head, and I don't mean that as a slight to Nick, but
no, I get what
she
you,
has the
yeah, like I
hindsight
get
of
what
Nick
you
now
mean.
too.
Right, yeah. I mean, she's been able to talk someone into doing this before, but yeah, we've talked, amongst ourselves and everything, and we've also voiced on our channel as well, that we're worried about Aurora because I absolutely believe, and now this is my opinion, but I absolutely believe that Gypsy had like fictitious disorder imposed on oneself, like I don't believe Dee Dee had Munchausen syndrome. I believe Gypsy was the one that was doing things, making herself sick, making herself, or just making up lies. I can't feel my legs to get attention. That worries me with her now having a baby because, like you were saying, stuff like that doesn't go away. If she was a narcissist then, she's still a narcissist now. We can see that in her behavior.
She still
So
got a sick mind.
so I absolutely believe that she possibly would, and I think I've said that in a video before. Like could she, like, if God forbid something happened to Aurora, like what was in that email to Nick, or that message to Nick that she
Right,
sent to Nick, if
right.
God forbid, anyone ever done anything like that to Aurora, and I pray to God it doesn't. But obviously, could she go to Gypsy as her mom and say, "Hey, mom, this stranger done something, or this happened to me," and trust her mom to do the right thing and like go to the police and report it, and or take care of it? Or would her mom just brush it off? Would Gypsy just brush it off and be like, well, you're 13, you're 14, yeah, I was
I believe
hypersexual at that age,
I
so
believe she would just brush it off.
I I, I
Wow.
I almost think so too.
Do
I
you,
really do.
I never gave any thought to that. That's something, that's a discussion right there. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know how she would handle. Of course, she would blame it on her mom, whatever it was. She'd blame
Oh,
it on
Oh
her
yeah.
oh
mom,
yeah,
as
gosh.
opposed to taking care of the problem right then and there, or trying to take care of the problem. I'm not sure that Gypsy is going to have long-term custody of her kid, because I'm not sure that her and Ken are going to make it. And I just don't see Ken saying, go ahead, Aurora. I mean, if Aurora exists, I can't just, I think that there has been so many red flags for him and his family that have now come out in these FOIAs that were released that show Gypsy in a way that she has no excuse. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think that that's what happened between her and Ken, and
Mhm.
why they were apart from each other. And, listen, I guess there are people that break up and get back together, break up and get back together, break up. And
Oh
it's the
my
worst thing
God.
for your kid. It's the worst
Yep.
Yeah,
thing
it
for
is.
you. Because like, so, but I just don't see her having long-term custody with Ken over this child. I just don't. I see Ken and Raina, yeah, because I think that they've seen concern. I think, I mean, the biggest concern to me is the fact that giving away and promising your child to somebody, that thought exists in your mind.
Yeah.
And then there's a horrible crime that occurs, and she's having X right in the room, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
across
Like,
from her
and
mom.
she's getting off, and he ain't, you know?
Right, yeah,
Right.
he couldn't get it up. I mean,
Yep.
excuse the way I'm
Yeah,
saying that,
no.
but
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he couldn't rise to the occasion for
it,
sure. He just
yeah,
couldn't.
that was a better way to say it. Yeah, he couldn't rise to the occasion. He couldn't. But I mean, seriously speaking, like who
Right.
could do that? I believe, and thinking about that, we were also talking about that the other day. When we were thinking about us doing a certain video, how Dee Dee had the writing on her body and the blood. She had the V
The
was
V,
wrote on it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know about you, Howie, but I think that Gypsy did that.
Oh yeah, I think
I
that 100%.
I believe she, went back in there. She put the Barney doll under her mom's head, which we're going to talk about later in a different time. But I believe she put that Barney doll at her mom's head, and I believe she wrote on her mom, and I believe she got off on having SCX right across the room. Being able, she says Nick blocked her from being able to see her mom when they went into her room, but I don't believe that.
No.
I really don't. I
I
think she looked in there. I think I have said to hubby anyway. I believe she was a part of it.
I believe she was too, because I think that she's that gruesome.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
don't think
that's
that she's gonna let
scary.
somebody take that from her. And I think that Nick's memories were, for lack of a better term, implanted. And when I say that, look, she already basically, here's the thing, like, so it's come out that nothing was in Dee Dee's toxicology report. Like, she had no numbing agent. There was nothing there. Okay.
Right.
So, but then she wrote to Nick and said she just took her sleeping pill, so she'll be out of it. So that makes me think, why did she
Yeah.
say that? First of all, why did she say that? Second of all, she took her sleeping pill, and so she'd be out of it. But all of a sudden, she comes to and starts fighting. Like, okay, I guess that could happen, but there was no sleeping pill, number one. So why did Gypsy say that? So that there could be a fight? She would know that. I mean, unless that's possible, and it goes along with my theory that it was supposed to look like a botched up home invasion.
Yep.
So to be
Yeah.
honest with you, now that I think about that, I gotta be now that I think about that, while I'm telling you, like, why would you have to go in there and kill her? Because she ain't moving anyway. It's not like she's coming and running after you. You would be
Right.
killing her. So maybe the home invasion thing wasn't, but what he was supposed to RAPE Dee Dee, right? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't
Yeah.
that, so maybe it was supposed to be, I you know, I think it was more than what it was supposed to appear to be. And I think plan B was her going with Nick. I don't think she was supposed to go with Nick because clearly she never got she never got herself out of there. She never got herself a bus ticket. And Gypsy, as you
Right.
said, way too narcissistic to not think of herself. She's going to get herself out of there before she's going to get anybody else out of there. So she didn't do that. So that brings up, right? That bring up
and she told him not to wear the gloves. I believe she wanted his DNA all throughout that house everywhere. And her looked like this poor little innocent thing. In her interrogation, she took out her dentures to try to look, more sick and young. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, she's sick, all right, but you know what I mean. She's trying to, trying to make herself look more sickly and younger and innocent and stuff. And when it didn't work, she put her dentures back in. Like you're definitely narcissistic, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You are a girly pop. She is.
I love the girly pop. So I also think that, when I was talking about like the crime scene in Nick's memories, I think that Dee Dee was not alive, or at least at the very end of her life where he actually did put her out of her misery. That's okay. And I think that everything that he thinks Dee Dee said was Gypsy saying, remember when my mom, and putting those in his memory. Because here's the thing, you walk into something, it's already a bloodbath. I'm sorry. I think it's already that. I think you can already.
Absolutely. I agree.
So,
I agree with that.
I think things are a little chaotic somewhere. As we know, there's a Dan that comes into Nick's interrogation where he's by himself and he says, and he mentions him, so I don't know if that, I don't know how, where, and why that came into play. Nick certainly didn't get any kind of fair trial. I would love for him to just get a fair trial, and because he deserves that. But all the casualties that are behind her, including Ryan, and I don't care for Ryan Anderson anymore, but he is just really a broken guy over somebody that continues to play him. Just continues to play him. For her own benefit. She treats him like a comfortable couch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was saying that in a recent video that we did, but I kind of put Ken in there too, because Ken, everybody talks about how Ryan, because I've kind of quit feeling bad for Ryan at this point too. He's gotten too cocky and stuff. But
I was a little bit for Ryan, but not now.
You were, but
so was I. I felt, I feel like you can only feel sorry for somebody so long, and then it's time for them to start feeling better. Then it just becomes enabling, and after the enabling, I think it just becomes pathetic, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it. I gave the guy a bunch of grace. It's not really my place. It's just, as somebody who's on here making content, like, I really did give him a lot of grace until it just became stupid, in my opinion.
But people, and people talk about how he brings up Gypsy and Ken and stuff. But if you think about it, the few times when Ken does get on live, he brings up Ryan just as much as Ryan brings up him. And that's what I was saying in a recent video of ours. Ken is almost more of a fool than Ryan, because Ken can now see that Gypsy played Dan, Nick, Ryan, and now she's playing Ken the same exact way. And to where he will literally take up for everything she says, and he will support her narrative. Oh, well, she was just sending Ryan, for example, she was sending Ryan pictures of Aurora, just to get him to do the paternity test. Remember that? So
supposedly, who knows why she was really sending
right, allegedly. Okay, then explain, Ken, why she was also sending pictures of of just herself to Ryan at that same time,
Hmm.
because she was, So it's almost kind of like, in my opinion, Ken's even more the fool. Like, can you not see these past guys, even the ones in prison as well? But if you don't count them, can you not see how she played Dan and Nick and Ryan?
Yeah,
And
so
now
I'm
she's
gonna
playing
ask
you.
you. I want to ask you, how did she play Dan? Because I mean, out of
Well,
all of
I'm just
those,
talking about, like,
go
I
ahead.
guess I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nope, you're good.
I guess I mean, like, how she would, yeah, how she would always say, like, well, I've got somebody else, I think there was a message somewhere where she did tell Dan, that, like, I don't think she really, like, threatened him, like, I'll go be with anyone else, but she let him know that, like, she could go be with someone else if she wanted to. Like, there was a message somewhere that she
Right.
had sent that to Dan, if I'm not mistaken. And then we know she definitely told Nick that all the time, to make him jealous.
Yeah, always playing one person against the other for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I got that. So, what do you think's left for her? How do you think this is actually going to end for Gypsy?
Oh, I think it's gonna play out. I mean, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but it's eventually gonna play out, and she'll be
Alone.
alone and by herself, and mm, without the baby.
Yeah, like
Right.
what you were saying, like we've talked about that. I kind of agree with that. I don't know how long Ken will sit here and put up with this, or maybe he's just doing it just to, you know, save face online or something. I don't know. And really behind the scenes, they don't get along that well. You know, I don't know, but I definitely think he's starting to get fed up and that he's going to end up, leaving her. It's kind of like the rehab thing. Maybe he did that, so he could get clean and better so that if when and if he's ready, he would be able to fight for custody of Aurora and take her, to Texas.
Do you think that he went to rehab?
Well, see, that's another thing.
I
I'm
don't
not
know
real
about that.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because to me he looks a lot more gaunt than before he
Yeah,
disappeared.
yeah.
Mhm.
We've seen a bit, that picture came out of Gypsy in that brown sweater dress and the boots in the
Yes.
store, and you could see Ken from the back, and he looked kind of, and I'm not being mean or body shaming or anything, but he looked, wide. He looked bigger than he's ever looked before. Because he's always been real skinny.
Right,
But
right, right.
in that particular picture, he looked bigger. But
Might be
then
the angle.
it, he was the person that passed him was holding their phone up, see, and Ken had his leg out in front of him, and they must have been holding their phone up above his head, and the lighting was right.
Was the baby there?
Actually, there was no baby in
I
that
don't think
picture.
so.
I wonder. I
I
think
know the picture you're talking about. I know the
yeah,
picture
I
you're talking about.
think Gypsy said that Chrissy had come pick the baby up for the weekend because she allegedly missed her.
Mm.
But in recent pictures, like the Halloween pictures of them, like trick or treating and everything, he does look back skinny and frail, and his
Yeah.
pupils look, pinpointed and things like that.
Wow. I
So
I had originally had thought that maybe he had went to rehab, but then when I saw the pictures and when he like came back, I was like, yeah, I don't think he went to rehab
Mhm.
because usually you come back looking a lot more healthy, you don't look more gaunt. And then,
Yeah.
I think for Ken, you know, I I think that he is finding out, holy shit, this isn't a game. You know what I mean? Like this is real, and how do I look next to somebody who has abused a banana and a toothbrush? I mean, I hate, seriously, I mean,
Yeah.
I know that that's a joke, but that's a joke that Ken has to live with, and Ryan.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
how
You're
how do
right.
you, well, you're in no compare. listen, man, all you had to do is hold up better than a toothbrush and a banana. I guess you're okay. You know what I mean? No wonder why the D is fire. Look at what the competition is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
That goes back to the bed too. He always said he wanted a king size bed because he needed his space in the
right,
bed. And Gypsy was like, "Well, I'm fine with that as long as like, when you roll over, because he didn't want to face Gypsy or hold her, so he would roll over away
right,
from her."
right,
And she was
right.
like, "Well, let her butts just touch." And he's like, "No, I want my space." But now they have a smaller bed, So is that really their bed? I don't know. A lot of people don't think it is,
Yeah, that's
but
true. That bed is much, much smaller.
yeah,
I
it's
think they probably sleep in separate rooms. I would think. I mean,
at the very
I'm
least,
not
yeah.
too sure that they are really living their life together per se, or if it's for
Like,
show. And like I was saying at the beginning, I'm sorry when I was asking about season 3. So I think that the reason that there wasn't a season 3 because there was no engagement.
oh yeah,
That I
Yeah.
think
mhm,
that that's the reason that happened there. Gypsy could say whatever she wants, but I think that the season 3 was a stipulation, and that was going to be the engagement, and then maybe the marriage and all of that. But because I mean, he wasn't going to be, and good for him if that's the case, for not being forced to be engaged to somebody,
That's
because you
true.
got to remember that's the time when all of this shit started coming out, the FinDom stuff that you really
yeah.
wouldn't want your mom to know about your future wife or girlfriend or mama's baby. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Mhm.
just wouldn't, you know. Can you imagine? Can you imagine, hubby? Let me tell you something about Lovey now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be so embarrassing.
It'd be terrible.
It would absolutely be horrible. And the thing, I love it when Brie calls it more or less wholesome kink.
Yeah, dude, we heard about that, and it's like, come on, Brie. Like, listen. We know you ride
Abuse of
hard
a
for
banana and
Gypsy.
abuse of
Mhm.
inanimate objects is what it is. You know, if it's wholesome kink, then go to a store or get it delivered for what it's used
Right.
for. Don't use a toothbrush for a different part of your body. Like, come on. Like, there's it.
She's trying to get herself clean, Toddy. Goodness, give her grace.
Mhm.
So now talking about like content creators and such. So
Mhm.
what do you think is like too far? How far one like there's a division. There's their side and our side. And our side
Excuse me.
is more or less anti-gypsy, but it's not so much for me anti-gypsy as much as it is, man, get her off the streets because she is a danger and she's just waiting for something, and she's got a, her original crime hasn't really been addressed because she slid under the radar with everything going on, and Nick took the full brunt of what she was responsible for, in my opinion. That's my opinion. So
Yeah,
and there is an anti-gypsy side, for lack of a better word, and those are people that are exposing the true narrative, or what we consider the
right.
true narrative, that are the facts. They are
Yeah,
FACTS. They are from FOIAs. They are black and white. This isn't stuff imagined or anything. So when
absolutely.
we are bringing the FOIAs and the medical records forward, and so our side against the ones that believe in Gypsy's many stories, except what we consider the truthful story, how far is too far to go for those people that are protecting Gypsy? Like, how far is too? Do you really like have a blind eye to? I mean, in my life, I don't have a blind eye to anybody's horrible behavior. Like, I don't. I'll call them out on it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
Right.
I mean, like, how far do you go? What when that's a question.
I, yeah, I don't know. I kind of have a lot to say on that because eh, I don't like saying, our side and their side and everything, but that's what it's become. Because, like you said, over here, all of us creators are working really hard to continue to put out the facts and truth about her, because there are still people who just simply either don't know or are still falling for her mess, her BS lies, and that's really frustrating, especially when you try to have a normal conversation with them and talk to them and try to show them, look at this, like you were saying, this black and white document, this piece of paper, look at this. They will twist it. They twist the medical records to fit Gypsy's narrative, to fit what she's wanting it to say, which is, my mom abused me. My
Yeah.
mom, everything's my mom's fault. Dee Dee is blamed for everything, and it's
Poor
so
Dee Dee can't.
frustrating.
She can't rest in peace for nothing.
No.
Yeah, no, her legacy gets taken away. And the worst part about it is, here's the thing. When this is common sense, and this is where I have a problem with the other side of Gypsy. When, because anybody could look this up, when they see the interrogation videos, not one time, not one time does Gypsy say, I was abused by my mom. My mom threatened me. My mom did this or my mom did that. Not at any time. She had a great mom. She loved her mom. If anything, her mom was overprotective. Her mom was
Yeah.
excited about
Yeah.
her and Nick going. There wasn't. Now,
Yeah.
if you have a self defense, if your mom was abusing you and all this stuff is coming out now, why didn't it come out in the interrogation? Wait a minute here. Like, I was being abused all this time and I know better. Like, supposedly, she told Nick she knew better. Why wouldn't she tell the police the same story? Hey, I knew better, man. My mom kept me in a wheelchair. She fucked with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that didn't come out of her mouth until she was in jail and somebody said, hey, listen, I got an alibi for you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. That's like the lawyer thing. She knew to ask for a lawyer. Nick didn't, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So he sat there and talked to the investigators. But when it comes to Gypsy and covering her, I would say like nothing is really going too far. As long as you're putting out the truth and facts.
Huh. You
Right.
sure about that, Lovey?
Well, okay, yeah, I take that back. Okay, because talking about the different sides, I do kind of take that back. When and if content creators, like we've known some to do, start doxing people, that's when it goes
Yeah.
way too far.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like when you're going as far as putting up pictures of people's deceased spouses and loved ones and where they live, pictures of their houses, and
Yeah, I don't
so
understand how those things compute, I should say, how those compute to uh anything to do with Gypsy Rose. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not proving anything that Gypsy Rose is non guilty of what she's being accused of by us. All it's proving is that, boy, why do you have to make such a distraction and so loud with what it is that you choose to do with that? As
right,
far as the distraction, as far as extorting people, calling people's jobs, and doxing people, like you said, threatening people. There's people that
Yeah.
have threatened. I mean, literally, obviously, have threatened people. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Making these little channels, making fun of the content creators over here on this side. That eh, that aren't making fun of Gypsy. They're not making fun of Gypsy's followers. Nothing like that. We're just simply talking about the facts of the case. Yeah, we'll say, this is our opinion or something like that. But we're putting out the facts and the truth and everything, and they take it too far by doing that stuff. And like you just said, doing these things while hiding behind the excuse of, well, if you're a content creator, you need to be completely transparent with your audience. And I'm sure you would agree with this, Toddy. Maybe, I mean, I don't know, but that the videos you put out, and I at least know this is true for us and many other creators as well, that what we put out is factual and true. And if we accidentally get something wrong, then of course we fix it. But what I'm saying is, like, what we put out though, and what we choose to share about ourselves as far as being transparent in our personal lives, it's true. Like, we may decide to give you a personal story of, about our personal lives, and it's true, but we may decide to keep something else to ourselves,
Right.
in our personal lives. That doesn't make us any less transparent, simply because we don't want the whole world to know something in our personal lives,
Right. I think that I think it's credibility, right? So
and
I
they
don't
lose their whole point.
yeah,
Yeah.
but here's the thing, like, all this is what the subscribers can expect from me. I'm going to tell them the truth. To the best of my ability, I'm going to tell them the
Right.
truth. If I get something wrong, I'm going to tell them it's wrong.
Right.
But I do want to say this. I am a content creator that I do poke fun at Gypsy Rose, and a lot of us do. We
Yeah.
do in the
Yeah.
way that we lick our lips. We do in the way that we make up the way that she talks. I mean, we do poke fun.
Yeah, like
That
I've done the baby voice.
listen, and
Mm.
when Gypsy was doing the cameos, she was poking fun back. I never took offense to those, even though I didn't get one. I didn't get one, Gypsy. Uh, I'd like to think that I wouldn't taken offense to that, because that's poking fun. That poking fun and doxing somebody or extorting somebody
Yeah,
or making real life with somebody or taking somebody's photos, and to me that is is a line that is crystal clear. Poking fun and saying stuff, that's okay, but when you accuse people of criminal behavior, like I was accused of criminal behavior when it came to Brie,
yeah,
and
that was awful.
yeah, and my wife was 22 years old. I mean,
Yeah,
come
and
on.
you were younger. You weren't the age you are now. My
No, no,
goodness.
no, no. I was 34. But listen, unfortunately, there are people I know that, there's people much older and even can be on their deathbeds and be with
Yeah.
somebody. I've seen that too, but I'll keep that quiet. But the thing is, here's, and we don't want an Anna Nicole thing. Here's the thing. When it comes to
Mhm.
when it comes to the other side, I've had Bree on my channel on the issues with toddie1skip, and I tried to talk to her, and she overtook all of the I didn't have a very good conversation, because she steps on you, she steps on you with
Yes.
the words, and then she makes you feel stupid, but I don't. But she does it by being louder. That doesn't make you right. It just makes me feel
Exactly.
stupid for keeping you on. Like, this is now becoming abusive, and I'm allowing it to happen, and I can't. So, and I heard Bree say that she had bought some apps, I guess, or some kind of tools that could take Gypsy's. I don't. What did she say? To take Gypsy's whole story and kind of bring it to layman's terms so that she can understand it better. Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah. I didn't hear it, like watching it firsthand, but I've heard about it. Yeah. Because she said that, her argument is always, y'all looked at, the hundred of pages of medical records that, you know that Fancy released or whatever. Y'all haven't seen
The
all the medical
thousands, right,
records that
right, right.
I have. Bree, let me tell you something. You have to go to school. You have to go to and take med terminology and all this. You can look at all that all
To
you want to. I
understand it.
guarantee you can't understand it. You have to
Well,
you
there's an app apparently. You got to just buy some sort of thing,
have,
download it, and it comes out in layman's terms.
maybe
So I
it
still
gave her
haven't,
a nursing degree too while she was at it.
still haven't seen. still haven't seen any receipts. And Gypsy's story, you know, consistently changes. And I think when a content creator goes too far, it's when it becomes real life. You know,
Yeah.
I think things should stay online. And if you have an issue, then it should be debated online, or you can stay on that side if that's what you will, and we'll stay on this side if that's what we will. And there'll just be that chasm between us. And that's fine, but I don't see solving anything by trying to bring in other content creators in the real life unless there's something they're specifically lying about. I mean, unless you found out Gypsy Rose is my cousin or something, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I wouldn't tell nobody if I did.
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't tell anybody if she was.
Mhm.
She's
I
not.
can't. I think I care too much about you and
Yeah, me
content creators
too.
to tell anybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm keep
No,
that to
but
us.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I just expect
Yeah.
to tell the truth to the subscribers and to
Right.
the best of my ability and stuff, but to, you know, it's like we're being attacked
Mm-hmm.
by taking Gypsy's own words and
Yeah.
saying, "What did you mean when you said this? Because over here you said this." And it
Mm-hmm.
becomes
Right.
that conversation doesn't take place because Gypsy doesn't want to have a conversation. And it can be as civil as this. Well, when you said this, well, what did you mean over here? But then you get answers, new answers. Now, here's the newest. I have PTSD and I don't remember. That's the way trauma works. You know, it's very much like the thing that we call convenient memory. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's very much like the same thing as that. But I think Gypsy spouts out a bunch of logorrhea. You know
Yeah.
what that
Yes.
is? You know what that is? Logorrhea. It's verbal diarrhea. And
That's what I. Yeah. That's what I
Yeah.
yeah,
figured.
no,
Yeah.
no, it is. It is. And her crew basically stewing that. Oh, what a scene that is. And Gypsy probably with her scat enjoys that. I just got a visual on that. So,
Oh God.
Mhm.
well, I mean, did any of that surprise you? Like, see, that's another thing now. Now, like a mother-in-law or a future mother-in-law gets to know that about their
Mhm.
sons, about the mama of their grandchild. Like, where does that where
Listen, we talk all the time and wonder all the time, what is Ken's family thinking? But that's like Raina when she said when Gypsy's book first came out, she came on a live and she said, well, Ken told me not to read the book, that there's just too much stuff in it, and there's stuff about her sex life in it. So I haven't read it, but I know that she wrote it for Aurora one day, so I'm just gonna read it with Aurora, my granddaughter, one day. You do not want to sit down with your granddaughter and read that book,
if the
Raina.
book's
No,
too
you don't.
ethical for you, why wouldn't it? Don't you think? Again, doesn't that go with exactly what I was saying about Gypsy Rose and the inappropriateness? There's
Yes.
inappropriateness when she was writing about putting barbecue sauce on her body. Why did she think, oh my, this will be good? My daughter's gonna like this. This will be,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
And
first of all, her daughter in that book should have been two different things. I'm doing it for my daughter so that I can have a livelihood for her, but
yeah,
that's it. You know what I
that's
mean?
a good point.
But that she didn't. She didn't. I did it for my daughter so that she could know the real story. And then the real story is now off the shelves
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
taken back
Yeah.
so that the real story could be put back in there.
Mhm.
I'm gonna
And
I'm
there's
gonna redact
content
everything.
creators ready to destroy people's lives on these stories. And you know, Bree had a lot of facts on that book that is now taken back. So she has fought things about that book that she has fought I
Yeah.
mean, vehemently, right?
Argued people
Just
down, doxed
horribly,
people over it. Yes.
Yeah.
horribly, has definitely just horribly has gone after people about this book, right? And only to say, well, if you read the book, Gypsy apparently didn't read the book, or she read it 50 times and never heard the book. But what about that now? Like those facts that you argued about,
Mhm.
why do they not get addressed? Why are you still hung on those facts? And if you really believed those facts and now those facts aren't true by the person that says they aren't true, the person that wrote the book,
Right.
um, why would you even consider believing the next facts that come out? You see what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah.
book
Yes.
isn't something that should be fluid. It tells a story of somebody's past,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't be fluid, you
And
know?
she's the one that said that all of us content creators on quote this side should be transparent, and that's why she went and doxed a bunch of us and everything, so because she thought we should be transparent. Well, Bree, where's your videos coming back to say, you know what, I did say this about the book and everything, but now I was wrong. Gypsy is saying that now the stories she put in her book weren't exactly correct. So I was wrong and I apologize. I mean, why can't you just simply do that?
Well,
You
let
know,
me ask you a question. Let me just ask you. So I'm still not prepared to tell people where I work at the moment, or where I
I don't
work.
I don't
Okay.
blame you.
Okay, but how did that not allow me to be transparent to my community?
That's what I was saying a minute ago.
I
It
never pretended I was anything. I never told
you
people
know,
what I did currently for a living. I told people what I did in my past, 1000% true. But what I was doing currently for a living, it wasn't anybody's business. And it
right.
definitely had nothing to do with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So it wasn't anything that would take away or bring to the case, or any of the cases that I would be covering. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
to go after that was just vengeful. That was just, let me distract you and punish you for what you're putting out there. Because and here's the thing. That book, the fucking book, was incorrect and taken off the shelves. In the meantime, I was doxxed, as well as a bunch of other creators,
Mhm.
all based on what somebody called facts. And those facts weren't facts, apparently. You
Yeah,
know what
Right.
I'm
you're
saying?
yeah, that's a good point, and you're exactly right. I mean, that's what I was saying, a minute ago. And that's what they do, I don't understand. I don't understand why you have to dox people, why you have to treat people like that, and
Listen, let me tell you something, and this isn't to bring anything back up. So I'm not even going to mention the creator's name. But when somebody has a degree in something, and they went through the testing and they went through the schooling, that degree
mm,
is valid. That degree is
yeah,
valid. If something happens after that, it doesn't take away the degree if they got the degree honestly. It doesn't take away the
right.
knowledge. It doesn't take away the credibility of that person's view when it comes to
Right.
You're
the
yes,
medical report of it.
you're
Okay.
exactly
And
right.
especially something over so long ago. And if these are people that want you to forget about something that was 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, which was an MURDER, right? Just 10, forget about that. But let's go after somebody from 20 years ago. Now let's see how,
Yeah.
what kind of sense that makes. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
because you want them to be transparent, but you're not being transparent. What do you do in your everyday life? How do you stay up all night on lives? You know
Well,
what
the
I'm
thing is,
saying?
I think that content creator was 100% transparent. There
Oh no,
wasn't
yeah,
anything that was
yes.
there wasn't anything that needed to be changed their, you know what I mean? That
Right.
the 100%.
But yeah, but that content creator didn't deserve what they got, for
Exactly.
real.
No, they
Exactly.
didn't.
They
And
didn't.
so instead of building their cases, I'm talking about Gypsy and
Right.
Bree, instead of their cases being able to stand, they take a quality content creator with credentials, okay,
Right.
and past experience,
Mm-hmm.
and they try to
Years of
destroy,
experience.
and they try, exactly, and they try to take that and make that look bad so that Gypsy stands tall again on a book that is
Mhm.
now retracted. Look at the damage that was done based on facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think content creators go too far. I was extorted. Like fucking
Yeah.
I was
Mm-hmm.
extorted. Remember that? I was
Yeah.
for $1,000, and I said, "Listen,
Yeah.
if you only got $1,000 worth of shit on me, extort the hell out of me." You know?
Mhm.
We finally had to face it too, in a recent live. We didn't want to. We tried for months and months, to just, let this go, let this be, and we just kind of hope, maybe they would kind of come to their senses a little bit and see that, we're not over here doxing anybody. No content creators over here doxing anybody or anything. And we thought it would kind of go away, and it didn't. It got worse. So we ended up having to come out and share personal things from our personal life that we didn't want to have to put out there in the world, but we did. But we finally had to just face it, and say, look, they dox us, they put our real names out there. We've never used our real names on our channel.
Right.
Like, they put our real names out there. Put they thought they put out what they thought I do as a living, but they actually got it wrong, thank goodness. So that's good. But still, what if I did? I mean, it is something that, I used to do. I won't
Mhm.
lie. But, that's like, that was, when I was in college, I was doing that,
Right.
so, but thank goodness, they don't know anything further than that. But still, what if I was still doing that? People could
Right.
look at that and try to find out, okay, well, where does she work, or where, did she, all this stuff. They put out our real name. Now I know that, like, you and another content creator that we were just talking about and all that got it way worse than we did. But they put out our real names. They found videos of when we
Yeah.
were teenagers,
A
and we're
long
we're
time ago.
putting them out. That it's
How does
crazy.
that make you less credible?
I have no
Mhm.
idea. Like, and it doesn't mean that, and like, by not sharing our real names, for example, with our subscribers, it doesn't mean that we don't trust our subscribers. There's a lot of our subscribers we trust, yes. But as content creators, a lot of people don't honestly realize just how careful, and we had to learn this the hard way. A lot of people don't realize just how careful you really, really have to be. And we were, thankfully lucky enough to have, like, you and, another content creator and stuff that really
Right.
helped us a lot with, hey, be careful with, what information you put out and stuff, that helped us. Because at first we did want to be completely open until we learned how they could be.
Yeah. That's gonna be, unfortunately,
And it's sad.
in every community. There's gonna be, there's gonna be both sides to things,
Yeah.
but yeah, they got vicious. Um, what they did to me was, not only did they call the job, um, like crazy, but they
We
also,
say they didn't. Yeah.
yeah, but well, they did, and
Yeah. Oh, I know.
um they also got into the Facebook feeds of the people that I worked with. Like, so those videos
Oh
that
my
you're talking
gosh.
about, that that they got of you and put
Yep.
online. So they would
Mhm.
get videos of me and put it in their and
Oh
some of
my
these people,
god.
yeah, some of these people,
Wow.
most of the people didn't even know who I was because I worked overnight. But here's the thing, that's horrible.
It
How does
is.
that make me? How does that make you more credible? Like, I'm just asking, how does that work for you? Okay, for
I
me,
don't know if
I
I
felt
didn't.
horrible about that because nobody should have to do that. And I said, I'll apologize to everybody for this crazy behavior, but I mean, how is it my fault when I've been doing it for 2 years and there hasn't been an issue? Why all of a
Right,
sudden is it an issue now?
right,
When
yeah,
I'm talking about the same thing. I'm talking about the same thing. So, and well, as you guys know, there was something that happened today in regards to that, and then something that
mhm,
will happen again, and then after that, something that will happen again.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
but way too far, and for no reason. It's not like
yeah,
I said, "Listen, man, I fucking work for the government," and then you find out, and then I'm talking about government shit. Then I understand. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
If I
no,
tell
it's
you I
different.
do something and then you find out I do something different, then yes, okay. Okay. But for the hell of it, for sport to what? To either what? Punish me for telling my truth, but Gypsy gets to lie and then take her book back and
And
teach
Mhm.
tell
it for
her
today.
truth.
So, again, what's too far, in my opinion, is when it gets off the line, when it gets offline and it goes
Right,
into personal, when it goes into personal shit, where
Yeah.
then to me it becomes, there's just I offered Sheena to kind of explain some stuff and give her a chance to talk. She hadn't responded. I realized that I had her email because she had written me basically a book, and so but I didn't get a response back, so she has no interest, and that's fine. I reached out, I tried. Excuse me, I just wanted to have a debate about Gypsy, not about Sheena, but about Gypsy, because also I didn't feel like Sheena's business was our business. I never looked up Sheena. I didn't look up
right,
these
Right.
women. I didn't look up these women until one of them went after Jennifer. And then it was like, wait a minute, you're not going to go after my dead ex-wife because that's not fair. I mean, there's people
no,
that could really, hurt, and so when I did it, it was to say, listen, I could do it too. Do you want to keep going with this? Because Jen's dead. The people that you're trying to mess with aren't. So how far do you want to go? Because you can't sit here and take it forever either. Like, I mean, you can't. How long do you take this shit for before you say, wait a minute, enough? Because I'm losing my fucking mind. I'm gonna help you lose yours first. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah,
Mm.
exactly, because I mean, nobody's gonna take away my wit and my first of all, my character, which I worked really hard and have continued to work hard on. Nobody's gonna take that shit from me. And
right,
two, as far as credibility, which I think is part of character, people are gonna get that, and people are gonna like me or they're not gonna like me, but it's not gonna be based on your bullshit. It's gonna be based on what they get from me. So as far as I put that through to my subscribers, I think that I show up for them exactly how I'm supposed to show up for them, by giving
yeah,
them the truth and telling them my truth. And of course, they need to use their own critical thinking because they could disagree. And I have no problem. I love a good, healthy argument because we can both learn something if it's a good, healthy argument. You know what I mean? Then there's a chance for both people to learn something. If it's just a bunch of people yelling or one person trying to get their voice over the other, there's no argument there. It's just, who can yell the loudest. So, you know,
yeah. Like if I was someone who didn't know anything about the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case. Like I was all of a sudden, just wanting to know who this person was that I don't know, I've seen on TV or something. And I'm sitting here listening to, you know, Bree and Sheena and them, talking. And then I come over here and listen to content creators, and I've seen the actual proof and evidence of how they've, doxed people and treated people. If I was looking at it from the outside, I wouldn't trust them. Like, and I'm not saying that because I'm on the quote anti-gypsy side or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm honestly looking at it uh, like trying to be completely unbiased, right? And
Right,
look
right.
at it like that. If I'd never heard of the case or anything, I wouldn't want to listen to, and especially not trust someone or people that I knew, threatened to dox people and have doxed people. And I've sat and watched them put up videos of people's deceased spouses, or done videos talking about someone's deceased, spouse, like your ex-wife, what they said about you, and
Yeah.
that's a disgusting thing to say about
Yeah, I don't
someone.
know where Jennifer had anything to do with Gypsy Rose or any kind of
I don't know, but it's not hurting her.
or anything.
No.
Exactly, So to me, again, that's like this giant smoke screen, this distraction of let's pull down this content creator because they're speaking too much. And supposedly Gypsy has been in my comments. I've heard, and I have to believe
She
that
has.
it is Gypsy, because I've seen in other comments the same commenter, and I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, that's Gypsy. The fact I
She's
couldn't see it in my own comments, but here's somebody who isn't, I don't think, is making herself look better by going
no.
to, I see why she's going to the smaller content creators, because the larger content creators have just now started to realize, oh shit, we got this wrong. But
Yeah.
she's not going to
Yeah.
go to the larger content creators because uh I think they're afraid. And let me tell you
Yeah.
something, they're not going to be doxing anybody over there because those people have lawyers on retainer and it's known about. The fact that they don't know what other people have or how other people, are related to people, that's just stupidity and ignorance
Yeah,
on
because we've
their
we've
part.
seen we've seen her in our comments so many times.
Really? Is
Yeah,
it
we have that.
Ashkelon 6?
Yes.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we couldn't believe it. It was we seen her for the first time before we were even monetized, and we didn't realize it was her at the time.
Right,
And so
right.
we started looking into it, and I was like, "Look, this account hadn't even been around that long. This doesn't seem right, you know."
Mhm.
We started looking into it more and more, and we found out that like 99.9% sure it's Gypsy. I mean,
Right.
the way they write and everything, yeah. And every once in a while, you'll see Gypsy use her own name, like her own account, that she'll make up for the day, I guess, and go into comments and then, delete the account. I don't. That goes back to whether the baby's real or not. How do you have time to do that with a 10-month-old baby?
That's true.
And Ken's at work 60 hours a week. What
Yeah.
like, and you don't have a babysitter, nanny, nothing. How are you doing that? That's how she ends up with many M&Ms in her hands, and touching the fireplace, and
Mhm.
all these dangerous things, because Gypsy doesn't care. She's not paying attention. I truly don't think she has a bond or a relationship with that baby. If we're talking about it truly being her baby, she doesn't seem to have a bond with it. Mm-mm, not at
Well,
all.
and the thing she said about her mom, that I know that she said about her
Oh
mom, because I
gosh.
heard it come out of her mouth, was that her mom made Gypsy her whole world.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
did
All
everything
Gypsy had to
for
do
me.
was exist. All
absolutely.
Gypsy had to do was well, Gypsy had a wheelchair in every room. All she had to do was walk to that room, get in that wheelchair.
Mhm.
Let me drive from this room to this room
No,
to
she
this
couldn't even get from one room to the next. She can only use it in the room, basically. No
This
turning around though. You have to go forward, backward. That was it. That's all the room that she had.
and that's true for real. You got your bathroom wheelchair, it goes forward, backward. The spare bedroom wheelchair, the
That's
living
it.
room wheelchair.
That's it. Each one had a wheelchair. Each one had a wheelchair. So, there was something else that I was gonna ask you about. Damn, what was it? It was about, and it was probably about Gypsy. Uh, no
There's a
doubt
lot
about
to
that.
say about her.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
joke.
I've
No,
heard
no
of
joke.
her. There's a wait a minute.
So what made you, and I know we've talked about it, but just on this channel, what made you say, I'm gonna cover this story? Like, what made you guys decide to be content creators? How'd that come about for you guys?
Well, well, hubby kind of started before we had
Yeah, I
night
started
combos.
the RC channel first, and then we started the Night Convos.
Yeah, but and we started night combos because it was just kind of a fitting name, but we like I started watching, stuff about the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case first, like years ago, and then I told, hubby about it, and we both just kind of got interested in it. And then as it came closer time for her to get out of prison and get, be off on parole and everything, and she was doing interviews and Christy was doing interviews here and there and stuff like that. We would kind of watch them, and we would just kind of sit around, like like we do in our regular lives, like like when we're done eating supper or something, if hubby's not on the night shift, when we're done eating supper, we'll just hang out on the couch and have conversation while we're watching TV or something. And it got to be where like almost daily we were talking about, the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case. And so, one day I come to Avi and I was like, what do you think about, having a YouTube channel? Like it might not go anywhere, but what do you think about, us doing a YouTube channel where we just kind of sit down and just share the conversations we already have anyway, with other people and see what they think and get their opinions and stuff,
Yeah.
like because we would ask people around. Everybody seems to say this, but we would ask people around where we lived, do you know who Gypsy Rose Blanchard is? Or ask our friends or our family, like, no, who is that? So Gypsy, you're not as famous as you think you are. But
Mhm.
I had to throw that in
Right.
there. But we just wanted to share the conversation, and then we were surprised, that we started getting subscribers and people actually conversating with us,
Mhm.
back, and it just kind of become a thing. We were like, well, hey, we'll just kind of sit around as a family and talk about this, but we never knew it would get as deep as it
Yeah, it
has.
became a lot more than what we thought it would.
Yeah, we never
Isn't that
expected
crazy? But what you mean by how, well, how do you mean by that? What do you mean?
like we never expected like for our channel to grow like it has within just one, we've just been doing this for 1 year. It just became 1 year. So yeah.
Congratulations. Happy birthday, Night
Thank you.
Combos.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
and how many subscribers do you have now?
It's 4,000. What is it, hubby? You looked at it earlier. It's 4,740 right now. Because we're trying to reach 5,000. So yeah, 4,740.
Right.
We never thought, people would care to listen to us that much, That
Right,
means
right.
so much to us that many people care to hear our opinions and, the facts that we've, worked hard to dig and find out and, get and all that. That's how they get their information.
Right,
you know? Yeah,
exactly. And it seems like whether it's right or wrong, it seems like that's the way that the world wants to get their information. And in like doses of maybe 20 minutes or so. But also, let me ask you this. This is what I was going to ask you before. Um do you feel, give me a second to word this. Okay, content creators were responsible for finding and helping to find the remains of Gabby Petito. That's the
yeah,
way it happened, okay? So, and that to me was the first time that I saw the value, to be honest, not the entertainment,
right.
because I've seen the entertainment in YouTube. I saw that value. But
Yeah,
Right.
the community value of, oh my God, look, they were able to put a closure to this case because somebody saw these kids in this van, right? So
yeah,
um and now, I really haven't watched the news in a while, the regular news, you know what I'm saying, as far as but it seems like even like the police, that they get a case, the case becomes the entertainment news, the story fades. It doesn't matter if it's even solved correctly or if they have the right person or who got by. Because again, Jen Soto always comes to mind. That woman is walking free and she offered up her kid. I for not even neglect, not even child neglect did she get. So
that's
and
crazy.
and nobody, I think that the story would go away, and in the meantime, this woman could still have children, and she could still marry somebody with a child. She could, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's almost like it goes from at the very beginning before they had like DNA, where they were able to get the DNA cases, or have the forensics for the DNA to be able to determine. It went from the hands of police officers to investigators to cold case files. And then all of a sudden, this new technology came about, this new science that they're able to use. And then these cold case files get picked up and some crimes get figured out. And then it goes away again. And then some amateur sleuth on YouTube gets
Mhm.
these files and we start talking about it. Do you know Gypsy Rose Blanchard would have walked away, like I had said before, if she hadn't have said anything, but even if the content creators hadn't have said anything. So now what they think, what the American public thinks about Gypsy Rose Blanchard is false, and even to a false safety of who she is. So here's somebody that might drop off their toddler later at daycare and they don't know the real Gypsy Rose Blanchard, right? So they're like, oh, well, she's the one that survived Munchausen by proxy. She's a lot more sicker than that. And you're going to let your kid come over for lunch. You know,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
a problem. That's a huge problem. And that's
yeah,
where the content creators are valuable,
mhm,
and where, yeah, okay, there's some of us aren't amateurs. Becca Scoops is not an amateur. Becca
no,
Scoops is a was accredited nurse, and
right,
that knowledge you're not going to take away from her over the course of time. There
no,
might be things that she might have not, sciences that have changed over the course, but Becca stays on top of pretty much that. And what she says that she
yes,
doesn't
she
know,
does.
she clearly says she doesn't know. She'll say, I wasn't in that field. And then her
Yeah,
husband, obviously, he brings in his real life experience as a detective or investigator. I apologize. I don't remember which Mitch was or is, but and now you've got a retired detective on the case and a retired nurse. However you want to look at it, in my eyes, she's a retired nurse. And so you have valuable information that could be looked at no longer by amateurs. They might be amateur. Well, he's not even an amateur sleuth because he's a legitimate
Right.
retired sleuth.
He
So
did this for real.
exactly. So then
Yeah.
you get this information and it brings to new eyes. And to me, the world's a dangerous place. That's it. And nobody's got this siren going off saying I'm dangerous. You know what I'm saying? That's just not. The scariest thing I ever did in the jail was when I walked into one cell block. And this is when we did the Thursday thing where it was questions, comments, and concerns. And we walked into every cell block, and it was the warden, it was the floor manager of that floor, it was the pod person in that pod, it was the medical team, it was the commissary person, it was the food person, anybody from any department that walked in every Thursday, questions, comments, and concerns. And I remember one of the last days that I was there, and this was before I met Jen, because I had left the jail and then came back. So this was, and I thought to myself, man, I'm in a cell block here it was 6 or 7 men. And I looked at all of these men and I thought I would give any of them the time of day or directions. And they were all very fucking dangerous. And I realized, no, none of them have a
Yeah.
tattoo on their forehead that says I'm dangerous. So, that was my biggest concern. And that is my biggest concern. So when we know that people like Gypsy Rose exist and seem to get off on gore and disgust and horrific behavior and dangerous behavior, I think that it is important that the public know about it, because
Yeah.
somebody needs to know, well, my kid isn't going to go over there. Maybe Aurora can come over to my house for lunch, but my kid ain't going over to their house for lunch. Because just like before this conversation even before I hit the record button, I said to you, before somebody came before I brought Jen into my home, because I was renting from a friend and there was a common area that we could walk through to get to
Right.
my apartment, I had to tell him who Jen
Yeah.
was, because, right? So if I felt that way,
Mhm.
of course I feel this way about Gypsy Rose. This way
Yeah.
about the public and about a child. So it
Yeah.
is the responsibility. So now we know she's dangerous. We know that she's the one that caused this. We know that the Munchausen by proxy was an alibi to get out of jail after 10-year card for free. We know this shit, but if the public doesn't know it, they can make a mistake without. At least they should know what they should know. They should be fair. How do you feel about that?
The same, like I agree, but like I absolutely agree, because I think about this all the time with, something personal that I actually talked to you about before we started the video. Uh, but it's really concerning with what we know about Gypsy, her offering her future potential daughter to Nick, thinking about all these things, and even now how she'll sit on a live and she's more concerned with talking to her panel of, you know, cult minions or whatever, loyal followers. She's more worried about talking to them than paying attention to what her baby, who can now crawl and pick up things and get things in her mouth and stuff like that, is doing. That's putting her in danger already. She's already used her daughter to grift and malinger and all that. You know, uh, I believe when Gypsy was younger, she, had the factitious disorder imposed on oneself. So that makes me feel like she would absolutely do things, or maybe not do things, but allow things to happen to Aurora. Like, oh, I see her crawling toward that fireplace. I'm going to let her get close enough to it to where it, she starts crying so I can get attention from it. That worries me. And then it also worries me that she would allow someone else's child to come over and play for a play date or whatever. And, you know, let who knows what happened to them. That's a real concern. And people that defend her still to this day, would y'all honestly let your kids go over there and spend the night? Like, be honest, be for real in your minds. When you're not sitting on a video defending Gypsy, how do you really think in your head? Would you really let your child go over there and spend the night? you
Right.
know
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder what they really truly think behind the scenes.
Well, it's not even. I I don't think I mean, like, there's crazy people out there. There's crazy people out there that they should just be warned, and the story should
Yeah.
be the truth and what it is, because then, make your determination. And we know that the story was incorrect. Even Gypsy said it's incorrect after reading it 50 times. It just doesn't suit well for 2025. At the end of 2025, guys, she'll redo it in 2026 as well.
I was sitting here.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that earlier. Like, I wonder how many times she's gonna rewrite this book and
I
put it
mean,
out. Like,
and people are going to stand by it and say that it's facts. But when you were talking about maybe the baby putting their hand on the, see, I feel worse than, um I feel like Gypsy likes pain, and she likes to see people
mhm.
in pain.
Yeah.
So, and she gets off on that. I mean, like, that is her behavior, that's her pattern. So the fact that, and this is very controversial, so I'll just say I don't know that this is true. I don't know that this is true, but one of the concerns that is true for me is the fact that, because I think Gypsy gets off on pain, and not necessarily her own,
Right.
I worry, like, not I stay up and worry, but I say to myself, man, where's that behavior gone? And I've been screaming it, and I've had a few people, "Oh, it's Nick. I'm sorry, it's Ken, and it's Ryan." Well, if there's a fucking baby there, it's the baby too. Like, because how is she how does she I can't pronounce the word deficient. You know what I'm trying to say. How is it
Yeah.
different between the two of deficient? Yeah, forget it. I'm not gonna.
Differentiate.
Yes, thank you. Differentiate. Yes, exactly. How does she differentiate? I don't
Yeah.
think that she has the mind to do that. So
And it's
I have
scary,
real exactly. It's very
if,
scary. It's very
especially if
scary if
Ken's
there's
not
a
there.
baby, and exactly if very you know yeah. I mean, I would think that Ken would have a camera at home. Like, he'd be silly not to have a camera at home and not
I
to, what I
would.
mean? I would too. Of course I
Yeah.
would. That wouldn't have been a person. But then again, he wasn't prepared to be a daddy. She got him. She got him good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She got him
We
good.
yeah, we had someone reach out to us that we didn't realize at first was actually from his family. And no, it wasn't like his mom or dad. Like, we could tell you after the video or something, but you know, uh, it wasn't like his mom or anybody. Raina's been known to talk to a few creators, but it it wasn't her or anything. It was someone else from his family when Gypsy first got pregnant. And we were surprised because we're a smaller channel, and we were surprised. But this person from his family reached out and let us know that they were the whole family, especially this person and the whole family and his parents and stuff, were really really worried about Ken, because when he found out that Gypsy was pregnant, he apparently, from what they told us and everything, and you know, some stuff that, we really believed them because we talked to them a good
Right.
bit
Right.
after we found out,
Okay,
after
so
they
I don't
told us.
want you I don't
Yeah.
want you to spill it on my channel. I want you to
Oh,
spill
no, no,
that.
they've said it's okay to say what I'm saying
Oh,
right
okay,
now.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
No,
okay.
and this was last year, and yeah, they told us it was okay to say this, but yeah, they were just simply saying that they were really worried about Kim because when he found out Gypsy was pregnant, he panicked, and we already know that he drinks and he's been known to use before and stuff like that. Well, apparently it got worse when he
Wow.
first found out.
Yeah, he went off the deep end.
Yeah, and I mean, well, we haven't talked to that person since
Right,
last year,
right.
so we don't know any updates as far as that goes, but yeah, that's what they told us when all that was going on, when she first found out she was pregnant and announced it and all. But she absolutely trapped him, and
Yeah.
Ken knows that because this person even said, like Ken has, said that he feels like he knows for sure that Gypsy trapped him. So
Oh, yeah, well, he said it basically when he made it seem like she got pregnant all by herself. Remember that
yeah,
comment? So
Mhm.
we knew right then and there that what he was saying was, yeah, she had control over this. That's what
yeah,
he said, and I mean, and I went on and said, "Hey, man, it took 2, but, here's the
hmm,
thing. You knew who she was enough to do this and marry and want to marry her. Why does it
hmm,
surprise you? Why
yep.
does that surprise
Yeah.
you? Like, you knew that she had the ability to tell you an untruth. Why didn't you put something on it before you
That's,
put it?
that's what
You know what
he
I mean? I'm
said.
serious.
Like, wrap
Like,
it up.
that's the person
Mhm.
that you're gonna trust? Well, how'd that work out for you, man? So here's Gypsy
Exactly.
who's asking people to trust, right? And she couldn't even be honest with Ken. I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm supposed to believe that she was on birth control and got pregnant, I don't. I don't believe she's
Three
that.
types of birth control.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a minute.
No,
No,
not at all.
no, you
Then
don't
why
get
isn't
put
she
on
pregnant
three.
now? Or is that why he's used the excuse, "Forget it, we're never gonna have sex." I mean, apparently my sperm can bust through anything, damn it. We're never gonna have sex. There you ruined it for yourself there, Gypsy Rose. You ruined it for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Toothbrush and bananas for you from now on.
There you go. Very good. Very good. Very good.
But that's what
So
I don't understand about him is saying, yeah, well, we want another baby by next year. Like, is he just saying that to save face, like online, to look
maybe
good
he's saying it
online?
because here's what I think. I mean, if you're really asking,
Yeah.
okay, I think he's pulling maybe a Katie Holmes. You know what I'm saying? So he's
Oh.
telling Gypsy something and
Mm-hmm.
giving her hope until it's the opportune time, maybe for him to take the kid and run.
What she did to Ryan,
You know what I'm saying? Well,
basically.
well, she left the dog behind.
Well,
You know what I
yeah, I
mean?
mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a baby, but yeah.
Something's telling me he's gonna take the kid and his dog. He's not leaving. You know what I mean? A pixie. You know what I'm saying? So, but let me ask you another question, and maybe we will end on this. But let me ask you this. So, and I I found just back because this was basically about how far content creators will go. I found that when you when when there's something that comes up between content creators, I feel like it should be addressed if it's necessary to address it. If it's just a bunch of bullshit and crap, I mean, then but I feel like some of the subscribers are in this for the drama and perpetuate some of this by adding fuel to the fire.
Oh,
And,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
and then I feel like obviously there's a very good team of subscribers. Now, I'm not talking about people that just disagree with you. There's a difference there. You could
Right.
disagree and then you could be downright mean and nasty and call names. And what do you think that those people, like, what do you think that those, they might not even be subscribers, but what do you think that those people behind those nasty notes, or those nasty, and I'm not talking about people with dual accounts. I'm not talking about Gypsy with double account saying things and stuff. I'm talking about
Right.
real honest people that just um it's like they're all, they're trying to use content creators as chess pieces for them to manipulate situations to cause drama. I mean, do
Yeah.
you go ahead.
No, I was agreeing, and I was saying, like, we talked about that
Yeah.
in our last live that we did. We That was one of the other things that we had to address, besides the stuff that was, doxed about us and everything. But that was one of the other things we had to address, because we felt like people were saying, we're not gonna subscribe, and maybe not necessarily us, but other content creators and stuff. But, like, I'm not trying to call any certain content creator out
Well, I
here or
think I was
anything
one
like
of
that.
them. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
I was one of the ones where they said, if you're gonna subscribe to toddie1skip, or when they
yeah,
give you that ultimate, so I don't mind you. I would rather you put my name out there than somebody else's name out
wait, okay, well, yeah, like, we got, a few, like, emails and stuff like that saying, if you continue to go on Toddie's channel and stuff like that, then we're not, or not we, but, like, I'm used to saying we,
there. Right.
but I'm not gonna subscribe to you. I'm not gonna watch your videos anymore or anything like that. And it's like, like, why?
Why?
Like,
Yeah.
like we said, judge us for the people that we are and that we
Right.
show you we are, and the content that we put out. The same with any other creator. The same with you. Judge you on the person you are and the content you put out and everything. Now, if you, Toddy, have a disagreement with another content creator, or if we have a disagreement with another content creator, in my opinion, I think that should stay behind scenes, if it can. I mean, I
Mm.
understand sometimes, people release information and you can't help that, and you have to take up for yourself, or, whatever. But, if if it can happen, then it should stay between the two people that it's between, or the three people that it's between, or four or five, or whatever,
Right.
whoever it's
Right.
between, it should stay between those people. It shouldn't be brought to the subscribers or the viewers or anything like that, to be like, hey, be on my side because this person said this about me or did that, or whatever. We're not in kindergarten, like, we're all
Right.
adults here,
Yeah.
and
I'm not
what.
very good with ultimatums, to be honest with you. I'm not very good
Right.
with them at all. Not at all. I don't give them, and I don't receive them very, very
Yeah,
well.
but after that, well, not after that, it was actually before our last live, and then after our last live, we had so many people reach out and say, I might not want, like, not okay, let me rephrase this. There was, like, maybe a couple, like, one or two people that said, "I may not watch Chadi's videos anymore, but I would never, judge you or stop watching, your channel just because I stopped watching Chadi's channel," for example. It was, like,
Right.
one or two people that said that. The rest of, the other people, there was so many people, they were like, like, we love Toddy, we support Toddy, you're so loved, it is wild. Like,
I feel loved by
you
the majority.
should.
Unfortunately, the louder nasty stuff is what you hear. But you know,
Yeah,
here's yeah, I don't do well with ultimatums, and here I put up, so, we have channels, right?
Mhm.
That's what they are. They're channels. So if you, and I'm not comparing in the way anybody might think I'm comparing, but if you think of NBC television, it's a channel, yes? And then it has
Right.
programs, yes? Okay,
Right.
so let's say that you like Big Bang, but you don't like How I Met Your Mother. So
Right, right.
what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you say I'm not going to watch that channel anymore, or do you say, well, okay, I didn't like that show, or do you say, wait a minute, I might like that show, but I didn't like that episode? See, we are so disposable, and subscribers, they
Mhm.
mean something, because
Right.
each number is a person, and you want to please everybody, but you're
Mhm.
not going to please everybody. And then you have subscribers that don't want you to please them. They just want to make you miserable. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
they're out there. They're the drama takers, the people that are actually bored. Because it's one
Yeah.
thing, again, to disagree with somebody, and it's one thing just to be mean and nasty. So,
Mhm.
but what was I saying?
The subscribers just being mean and nasty,
Yeah,
for no
and
reason, and
them being more than just a number, and how you
yeah.
want to please them. So I put a video out that was not a that wasn't a Gypsy Rose video. Okay, first of
Mhm.
all, I get people that tell me, "Can you stop talking about Gypsy Rose?" And I'm saying, "Well, look at the views. Like, look at how many people want me to talk about Gypsy
We
Rose. Maybe
Exactly.
we get
maybe
the same
watch
thing.
a different video." And then I put out another video, and somebody writes, "Way to lose a subscriber." And I thought to myself, wow, like, that's okay. If that's how black and white you are, not I didn't like the episode, not just I'm gonna throw you
Yeah.
away because I didn't agree with this one video you put out, apparently. And I'm sorry, I just have this dog hair that's like right in my face or
Oh, I
something.
get it because of our cats.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and my views have changed towards those people. When I was a newer content creator, I want to say that I gave a lot more grace. And then I started realizing, well, the grace that I'm giving to what I consider ignorant people, like, who does that? Okay. And I'm not an airport. You could leave. That you don't have to wave goodbye. But if you
Mhm.
want to, and you want to say it's over one video that wasn't about Gypsy Rose, I mean, okay. If you didn't know that you could just watch a different show on the channel, but
Mhm.
I appreciate subscribers, obviously. I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
them because there are faces behind them, and there are some that I feel like I've gotten to know,
Right,
but
yeah.
nobody is gonna make me somebody I'm not by using, you know, don't use your subscription on me. I don't waste it on me if that's
Right.
if that's what it's going by. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if it's just going by one video, forget it. You know what I mean? Like, then
Right.
why'd you subscribe? You should have shopped around first. Don't subscribe. Just look at the channel. It's something you want, yeah. Or just hit the notification bell on the stuff you want me to talk about. I mean, like, you have control. Everybody has like this control, but for some reason, some people feel like, well, I subscribe to you. I'm gonna control what it is you're gonna say, and
Yeah.
or I'm not gonna subscribe to you. Okay, bye. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it is like that, and, like, we'll see our numbers, kinda go down a little bit sometimes, by 3, 4, something like that, and I'll be like, "I don't like, why?" Like, "What was different?" Like, "What did we do differently?" Or, "What did I do differently?" Because hubby hadn't been on the videos recently because
No, it's been a while.
Right.
his work schedule and stuff, but, like, I sit there and rack my brain, like what was done differently, or what did I say differently? Why, I'm the same person, and I act the same way, and I talk the same way
Right.
that I was when I very first started.
Right.
So I don't, except for I don't say as much. I remember, I remember like one of our first or second videos, I couldn't think of something, and I was like, um, and we didn't know how to edit yet or anything, so it was just in the video,
And you still
and
ended up
somebody,
with almost 5,000 subscribers in your first year.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And we're so grateful for that because, like you said, like they're not people, subscribers are not just numbers, they're people, there's faces behind them, and you do care about them, you do.
And
And
they're giving you a currency. Their currency is time.
right,
Right.
yeah.
I mean,
And liking your video and stuff. Yeah.
but I
Because
mean, time is just so precious nowadays
yeah.
that, I mean, I feel like my responsibility as a content creator is not to waste your time. I never want to have you watch a video of mine and say, can I please have my 20 minutes back or my 9 minutes back? Or, I mean,
Right.
and as
Yeah.
long as I don't do that, I feel like I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope nobody ever feels like that toward us because like I've always made it very clear. It's like I can be very sweet and nice and like I've always been the kind of person that I can take and take and take and take a lot from someone before I finally am just like, you know what? Screw it. Like, and that's just like if we were going to listen to that one or two people that said that, we wouldn't be doing this video now.
Right.
Like, why, lose like a friendship or a partnership, with a fellow content creator and stuff that like we made clear has done nothing but be nice to us and never had to, was much bigger than us and never had to be nice to us, never had to mention our channel, never had to answer our questions or you know try to be helpful in any way possible to help our channel grow. But they did. You took your time to do that, and I mean we're so appreciative of that. So why would we throw that away over one person
Right.
you
Well,
know
I mean, but even to like look at this objectively, so whoever it is, I don't know that whoever told you
right.
that, and I don't care if it was 10 people. I
And
don't.
it's,
I
it was
really
just like
don't.
one or two.
Honestly, I really don't because I don't know those people, but
Right.
you guys, I know, and you guys know me more
Right.
than somebody watching my channel knows what type of person I am. So
Right.
why would somebody like what is it? They could say, hey, this person has a history, but then it should be something that they have proof of, not something that some fucking content creator made up and has absolutely no proof of. Then,
Right.
I
Right.
mean, like that's just about liking somebody and not liking somebody else. There's no proof there. That's about taste. And that there's
Mhm.
no debate. There's no that everybody's got their own opinions about taste and who they like and who they mesh with and who they don't. There is no debate about that. I don't even want to debate somebody's personal taste. But
Right.
that's what that is. It's not about anything that was physically seen, no receipts, no nothing. That's it. That's all it's based upon. And I have no time for those people because I live in the real fucking world and I'm
Mhm.
based on my behavior and my actions in the real world and not on a 20-minute video because my videos or exist for the amount of time that you see them. The whole shit and shebang that goes behind them,
Yeah.
you know, obviously I'm standing by what I'm putting up there until you see something different. You can't say shit about me. If
Yeah.
I'm out here in the real world with signs up saying I love Gypsy Rose Blanchard, she's done nothing, or if you hear a conversation where I'm like Gypsy, no, she did nothing, then you got a bitch. If you don't think that I'm out here saying the same thing I'm saying online, you have no bitch, especially about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, right? I mean,
Mhm.
seriously.
Right,
So
like, I watch your videos for the information, because I'm interested in what you have to say, and I don't watch your videos because of, yeah,
everything else
something
is
that may have
taste.
happened behind scenes.
Everything else is taste or an attraction that you have to somebody online. It doesn't have to be physical or anything. Just a personality. I like the way that I receive information from this person. I like the way
Right.
that this person. That's about taste. That is
Mhm.
not about anything other than your personal taste in how somebody presents themselves to you. The information I'm giving you is the honest information I could give you. It's the way I stand outside of here. You know what I'm saying? So uh, the everything that goes around that peripheral is bullshit. Now, when I talk about Gypsy's fake drug use at the time,
Mhm.
then I'm talking about it from my experience as a drugs counselor. Now, if you ever came in and said, well, she was never a drugs counselor, but yeah, I was a drugs counselor. You call the job, you know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? That I understand. I understand. If I ever came on and said I was a CEO, yeah, I understand somebody calling me, you were never a fucking CEO. That would ruin my credibility. You're right, because I wasn't a CEO. I never said I was a CEO. I was, you know what I mean? I said I was, the commissary manager and I was the assistant manager of the kitchen. So, you know what I'm saying? If all of this shit is true, and I'm 62 years old, I say, right? Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I say that I like to say that I have 62 years of life experience. So, if I'm 50 and I'm lying, shame on me for saying I'm 62 if I'm 50. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if any of this stuff that I think makes me credible, the thing that I'm saying makes me credible, if any of that isn't true, then you got something to bitch about. But if that's
Right.
true, everything else is, my opinion, it's taste. And that is really not up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. That's a very good way of putting it. It truly is. Very good way of pointing it. Putting it, pointing it. It's a very good point. Very good way of putting it. Yeah.
Well, that lands
I
us on
absolutely
about
agree.
2 hours. No, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I absolutely agree. Like it, because it is about taste. That's like me, hubby will tell you I can be so sweet and nice for the longest time and take a lot of crap from someone, before I'm just done.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
and then then you got something to worry about when like lovey goes from being loving to being done. You got something to
It's a
worry about.
whole nother story then.
I bet. I bet. I bet. But I don't think, people can understand that there's a sweet side, and then obviously we all get pissed off, right? So then there's
Right.
going to be that side. That makes you human, and we expect that. But the work that you do on Gypsy and the reels that you get and you break down, that's all credible. So you being doxxed had absolutely nothing to do with the credibility that you put behind your behind your programs, behind your videos. So your audience, I feel like, because I'm one of your audience, I feel like, actually I'm 3 your audience. I subscribed on all 3 of my channels, but um
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome. But
I really appreciate that.
not
Yeah.
a problem. I think that when people look to you, it doesn't matter. I don't think you bring a lot of the outside world into your videos unless you specifically talk about something. So you're not saying, listen, I was a cop and now I'm here talking about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything
Right.
that you bring in is more or less your critical thinking and stuff that was broken down that
Mhm.
you understood, and now you break down in a way so that your viewers can understand and
Yes.
get into the conversation. And
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah, that's exactly what we try to do. Yeah.
and there's nothing for sale there besides that. So unless you betray yourself in that,
Mhm.
you've in my opinion met the obligation that you have to subscribers, I think, and even members, you know?
Well, thank you. I mean, I hope they feel the same way. That's why we done that live and we said, we'll talk about this one time, like we hope we never have to talk about this again. It's one time only kind of deal.
Mhm.
Because we wanted our subscribers to know, look, we care about all of you. We really do, because we know they're people. We care about all of you, but you know, we don't want to be told, and we're not going to be told, well, you can't talk to this creator. You can't, you know, be on that creator's channel or this creator's channel. So, like, that's networking. Even if we didn't have any type of friendship or anything like that behind the scenes or anything, it's still like a coworker. You
Right,
you you
right,
work
right,
together.
right, right,
So
right,
that's what we were trying to explain.
right.
That's just what content creators do. They team up sometimes.
Yeah, they collaborate a lot of
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
and sometimes behind the scenes about things that have nothing to do with on the scene, or
You're right.
online, and
Yeah.
that's the way it is. Well, I've kept you guys for 2 hours, and I think we actually agreed on a lot
I
in
know
the
we
So it
argument.
is.
disagree.
But that's okay. That's okay. Not every argument needs to be a fight, right? As long
Yeah,
as you
that's
get
true.
something across.
It's
So,
true.
is there anything you guys want to say before we call it a night? And I thank you so much for coming on my new channel and talking about Gypsy Rose and the responsibilities of content creators and when enough is enough. And, you know,
Well, you're very
Oh,
welcome.
yeah,
I
thank you for
appreciate that.
having us.
I appreciate you. You have anything you want to say to anybody? You guys working on anything new you want to talk about? Because I'm probably going to put this video up soon.
I
Mm.
did look into the Whitakers today.
Oh, yeah, he's been watching your videos about that and
It's
other
crazy.
videos about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's told me a little bit about it. And I don't know as much as he does yet. I'm waiting to hear.
Absolutely crazy.
And,
Absolutely
and
crazy that's
all,
going on
all I
there.
know is it's like an inbred family and stuff,
Yeah.
but and
Big time.
Yeah.
he knows
Yeah.
he knows more than I do right now. But I just want people to know that Gypsy's, quote story or whatever, it should really be a warning to people. Like it really should.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be about a brand or, making her look good or whatever narrative she's spreading that day. Like, let her story be a warning to you, all the
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
listening. Not necessarily maybe all the people listening, but people who may listen to the video, who have children who live in that area. Let our story be a warning. Listen to both sides. Don't just listen to one side just because they live in Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's funny. Those that don't know, Bree, Gypsy's best friend lives in Louisiana, and so
Yeah.
does Gypsy. So that's how Bree knows everything, and by that special app that she got that she could put in any information. She's got this time machine thing. I don't know what it is. It kind of is like I, I'd like to know the name of this app, and I'd love to see some receipts, but
Are you sure it's something? It's not anything she made up.
I think it is. I think it is. That's a good point. Yeah, I think it is. Definitely think it is. And of course, that's why there's no receipts, because if there was receipts, Bree would have it all over the place. She'd be
Oh yeah.
posting that shit up more than a billboard, you know what I'm saying? Hey,
Yeah.
I know that Sheena has the ability to make those virtual billboards, so they'd be posting that shit up there, you know what I'm saying?
For
The
real.
funny thing is they're trying to get another content creator, um, that is on TikTok more, but I think he also has a YouTube channel, and they're trying to say that he's dangerous.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
So
they twisted his words or something.
yeah, that he's dangerous. In the meantime, what about Gypsy being dangerous to other people as kids? You know what I'm
Right?
saying? As well as Aurora's. I mean, that seems real dangerous, especially when somebody wrote a letter. Like now that it's come out, because see, Bree said, no, it was Nick's idea. Okay. Well, now it's come out that it wasn't Nick's idea. Why is it okay that it was Gypsy's? And
That
and if you went and said it was Nick's idea, why didn't you give credit to the original author of that idea? Because you knew it wasn't such a fucking good idea and didn't look good, so you threw it on Nick. And now it's come
mhm.
out it wasn't Nick, it was Gypsy, and you don't address it. Well, it like went away. No, it didn't go away. The fact you stopped talking about it doesn't mean it went away. It just means you don't want to address it anymore.
Yep.
You know.
Mhm. Yeah, yep. You're exactly right about that. What scares me is these people, on her live that she had up. What was it? It was yesterday, the day before, something like that. We posted it on our channel. The live uh people, they were letting like one person at a time come up on the panel to like meet and talk to Gypsy. It blew our minds because people were going up there like they were meeting their favorite rock star. Like,
Yeah, they were.
I can't
y'all,
believe it's you, Gypsy Rose. I heard some of that
yeah,
off your channel, actually.
she she's an unaliver. That's it. She took her mom out for no reason, no
And
good
threw
reason.
some guy under the bus. And threw some guy under the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What she's an unaliver for, I mean, she doesn't even want to take credit for that. I
Yeah.
mean, apparently Nick should take, she should take not the credit. I don't know what the hell she's, you know what I mean? Because she wants to give Nick the credit because he's in there doing prison time. So,
And then she'll turn around sometimes though. The other day she made a comment and she said, yeah, I'm an MURDER. Tell me something I don't know.
yeah, I
J-
heard that.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, all right then.
Mhm.
Well, she's not going to be able to shake that. That's what she is. She's convicted of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. That file is locked and loaded for anybody to see, apparently. But now there's just more stuff to see, which makes her even look worse because now it's appearing like she unalived an obese woman for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? For no reason
Uh,
except to make money and to be with somebody. You know.
yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. And like you've made this point before, she could have done something that was not as gruesome. She could have made it almost look like an accident, but it's like it turned her on though. I,
That's
I
the
really
thing.
believe that.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because you have to remember, and here's what's very important for people to realize as I turn the heat on. Give me one moment. I'm going to turn the heat on Gypsy in a second. Everything that we know, guys, everything that we know as far as the way that Dee Dee was unalived, we know that Gypsy uh, sent Nick an instructional video because we saw the video. We saw that video. So this is something that she pictured, just like picturing in her mind giving her child to Nick. These are pictures that live in her head. And then she turns them into reality, at least one time that we know of now with her mom, right? So I mean, I have never thought about murdering my mother. Never. And let me tell you something.
Yeah,
My mom and
No.
I
no.
we had some challenges. We had some
Yeah,
challenges in our relationship, but never once did I ever think about harming her. Like
right.
these aren't your average bear thoughts. And
No,
in the
they're not.
meantime, Gypsy tried to unalive her mom twice before Nick finally supposedly did it for her, which again, I don't think. I think Nick either put that woman out of misery or Nick unalived an unalived woman.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
think Gypsy gets off on that. I've said
Yeah.
before, if she had a dick, it would hit all the way to Rhode Island, man. Like, I'm serious, and that scares me. And, I'll be honest, I reached out to a couple content creators and I said, "How does a woman rapist behave? Like,
That's a good question.
how does their manifestation, like, not their manifestation, but how is their release? What does that look like?"
Yeah. I've heard few like that's actually true stories where you know women actually would of course drug a man or something, and then like use something. Is what was it? It was some kind of like like something that would kind of like give them a shock, like
Oh,
it
okay,
would like
yeah, I've
kind of
heard it. Yeah, yeah,
electrocute them or something
right.
to make them rise to the occasion, but they'd be drugged, and passed out and everything. And it's like, wow, well, dang, because most people think, well, women can't do that. Oh, yeah, they can if they want to, you
Yeah,
know.
I just feel like Gypsy, like maybe she's not, but the BDSM, she has a very unnatural, thankfully unnatural, and you want to take some uniqueness and shit, Gypsy, here you go. Unique mind, thankfully, because it would be so dangerous for a lot of people to be walking around. But we do know, and then I go back to Jen Soto, and I don't know if you saw my video about Lost Prophets, Ian Watkins, who was killed in a facility in the UK. He was the lead singer from a Welsh band, Lost Prophets, and he was already in prison for, I want to say, over 10 years. Well, I want to say like 15, maybe. And he was just unalived in the prison. And he was in there because mothers like offered up their babies to him.
Oh my
So
god.
there are people in this world that actually do that. And when we know that somebody has written about that, what's our responsibility as content creators? What's our responsibility, period? Like, you don't see that as a danger sign? Of course you do. I know that you guys do. But
Right.
I'm talking about like the general public. Why wouldn't you want to know that, especially if you have a child that's going to go to school with Aurora, if Aurora really exists? Or if you're going to go to Gypsy's house for dinner. Like, again, like,
Mhm.
you should know this. I think, I think.
And it's like that new friend she has, the girl, and the only reason I'm using her name is because she has put herself out there like crazy. But this the new friend named Heather, that lived in Missouri, and knew Dee Dee and Gypsy, before the unaliving and everything. And then she was a missionary or something, and they traveled around, and they've settled in Louisiana. And she has a brother named Gage, and the only reason I'm using their names is because they
Right, right,
have
right.
put themselves out there like crazy. But that's like them out there. She reached out to Ken, actually, which is odd. But these women are reaching out to Ken, and then Ken's telling Gypsy about them. Because there was one on that live I was just
Well,
talking about.
I'll tell you why that probably is, because Ken has a lot less subscribers than Gypsy does, and Gypsy probably is too lazy to go through all of her shit. That's why
That's true.
she only
Yeah,
cares about what other people say on their channels. Doesn't give a shit
right.
about her own messages.
She really doesn't. She's said in so many different ways, a few different times, well, more than a few times now, she doesn't care about her followers. But yeah,
Well, that's a
and
woman that didn't care
they
much
don't
about
believe
her
us.
mother. What do you expect?
I know, and they don't believe us when we try to tell them, hey, Gypsy doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about her followers. Okay. Like goodness. But she reached out to Ken, and she said, hey, I just want y'all to know that there are good people out there. I would just like to talk to y'all and let y'all know that. and Ken went to Gypsy and was like, hey, we should ask them to go out to dinner. Then when they went out to dinner, that's when she told Gypsy, hey, I've actually met you before. I actually knew you in Missouri. Why wouldn't you start with that in the message? Like, hey, I knew Gypsy when she was younger, before her crime and everything, and I was reaching out, and
Why
just wanted
wouldn't
to know what she was doing.
Why wouldn't you start? I'll tell you um, why I would think somebody wouldn't start a message like that, because I think she has a lot more critics when she was
Mm,
younger than she has a lot more people that would be fond of her today. Because you have to remember, regardless of anything, there's an admission that there was a grift. If nothing else was going on, there was a grift. So they were taking the kindness of strangers and taking advantage of them, which now we'll talk about a content creator. 1980 Millennial came on this channel, and um we were talking about if Gypsy or somebody with the crime of unaliving any family member should be able to get out and have children, or should they be fixed. So this content creator, she started her channel basically on trying to uh, show the truth about Gypsy, because she actually had family that was taken advantage of Dee Dee and Gypsy.
yeah, I
So,
thought that was pretty cool when I found that out
yeah,
about
and
1980 Millennial.
she's just trying to, I mean, that's how her channel started. By her whole thing was, no, I want to tell the truth, and when these people are ready to hear it, I want to have it ready for them. And in the meantime, how many people has she told the truth to without I'm sure she realizes now. I mean, her channel's it's taken off like mad, and God bless her, because she does a lot of work. But look at
Yeah.
how many people's minds she probably changed in the meantime, while her whole purpose was, I just want to show my family, I just want to show the people that were really affected by this. And now, she's shown a lot of people, and hopefully she will show her, family that when they're ready to receive that.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's pretty cool. Like, I think I would like to talk to 1980 Millennial more, and hear her story about, her family members that got taken advantage of by Dee Dee and
Yeah, well, they
Gypsy.
don't think that they got taken advantage of, unfortunately. They don't. That's the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Oh,
yeah,
I
that's the thing.
understand now.
She feels like they totally have, and which would be true in my opinion. But that's why she started making videos, was because she was like, no, I'm gonna like show. And in the meantime, her channel, and all from there you go. So that's another example, all from that's her truth, and that's her integrity, and that's what she believes, and that's what that whole channel is based on. And it continues to be that way as she reads all the FOIA information. It's all to expose who Gypsy honestly is. So that is a content creator meeting exactly the expectations, and came from really a pure place of just wanting to show their family, hey, this is who she is.
That's wild. I didn't know it was just to show her family. I thought it was like
That's
to
how it started. I
to,
believe that's
to
how it
tell her
started.
family story. But well, I mean, I hate that, and I hope they do, come around really soon, especially with everything that's come out about Gypsy, and with 1980 putting all these emails out on her channel to
Right.
show who Gypsy really was. Even though Gypsy liked to say she wasn't a part of the con, you were a part of the daggum con. You mean to tell me at
Yes, she was.
yeah, like at 14 years old, oh, I didn't have a numbered candle on my birthday cake, so I didn't know how old I was. So you didn't know that 13 comes before 14 and 15 comes after 14. Like, you really, Gypsy? You didn't know how to count one, two, three?
Yeah, she could speak Spanish, I mean, at an early age, right? Didn't she
Yeah.
speak a little bit of Spanish and stuff? And
Yeah, I think
she knew
so.
about, like, parts of her body and stuff, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
And I
crazy.
believe Dee Dee really did teach her at home, and I mean, she
Me
might not
too.
have went by the state's standards. I haven't really looked into that really deep, and I know that's one thing we were wanting to look into a little deeper was like how much schooling according to the state, that would pass by the state standards, did she really do? Because when Gypsy was a year old, she was laying in that little basket in that video. Dee Dee had her laying in a basket. It was actually cute, before
Right,
she turned
right.
evil and
I
everything.
remember, yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, "How old are you?" And Gypsy put up a finger and she was like,
Right.
1, that's right. How
Yeah.
can you be Gypsy and not, or like she said, "Where's your cranial?" And
Right,
Gypsy
right.
pointed to her head. So I mean, she was teaching Gypsy these things from the time she was a year old that we know of, maybe a little bit before then. But, so I really believe Dee Dee was a smart woman, and I believe that she really taught Gypsy, and Gypsy knew way more than she tries to put on that she did. But how can you be Gypsy and think about these things? Do you not see that video clip when content creators play it and not just come? I, I couldn't even imagine how I would feel. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
oh,
Exactly. I think that that's when she just gets more angry and stuff. I really do. I think that then that's when she just doubles down and just gets more angry. But I'm getting ready to call it a night, to be honest with you, because I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I still got to do a little bit of cooking.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys immensely. Thanks, guys. For those of you that have checked it out, please like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you, especially if you've gotten to the end of this episode. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you to my guest, Knight Convos, KNIGHTCONVOS, a great couple and a great channel, like I said. And guys, always remember, if you got to stand on something, make sure you got a good argument. Thanks and take care.